Ironman is the biggest race in the world.
Ironman is something that puts a shiver down your spine.
Tests you physically and mentally.
My past performance in sprint, Olympic and middle distance triathlons has been so lamentable that a decision to tackle an Ironman event can only be described as questionable. Ironman UK involves racing round and round in circles around Bolton and didn't really appeal. So I entered City to Summit. This race is much more scenic and involves the twin challenges of a cold sea swim in Edinburgh in May with a run to the summit of Ben Nevis. This decision wasn't so much questionable, it was insane. Ironman preparation normally focuses on endurance training, long, slow distance, and most triathletes perform the majority of their long training sessions on a bicycle. Due to some knee problems I've got, I'm planning to reverse my training completely, and all my long distance, slow training, endurance training is going to be running. I'm going to do that over the course of the winter. And during the winter, about 2 to 3 times a week, I'm going to do some very short, more intense sessions on a bicycle. My plan for cycling was to minimise long cycle hours. Instead, I completely abandoned outdoor cycling for 6 months. Over the winter, I trained in the garage on a turbo trainer 4 times a week, never for more than an hour. For this to even be partway bearable, I needed the magnificent Sufferfest videos. Using a heart rate monitor, I demonstrated that 1 hour on turbo trainer is the equivalent amount of work as 2.5 hours of road cycling. With miserable conditions on the roads with rain and ice, this made Sufferfest a compelling choice over the winter months. I'd commend it to anyone wanting to get fit with their cycling. In March, I decided the time was right to leave the garage, and I headed to Scotland to cycle from Edinburgh to Glencoe. Despite temperatures of -5 and with snow on all the hills, I was delighted to perform this cycle in 7.5 hours. If I can do this on race day, that'll do very nicely. Whilst my cycling trip in Scotland was very reassuring, I did take the opportunity of putting my hand in the water. It was truly shocking. There are two problems with swimming. The first is distance and the second is cold. Distance can be trained for every day by swimming in the pool. The only obstacle is boredom, so I need to train to cover 160 lengths. The cold is harder. The water in the Firth of Forth will be 8 degrees and I'll need to be in it for about an hour and a half. This presents a major problem. However, I can train for this without swimming, simply by sitting in a cold acclimatisation tank, which, whilst unpleasant, is not particularly dangerous.
You think this is empty, don't you? Oh, it's not empty. It's cold. Oh, that is cold. Now to the bicycle.
Finally, the winter is behind us and it's time for some proper open water swimming. With just a month to go, this is the final piece of the jigsaw.
Well, race day is here. Weather could not be better. Flat calm, there's hardly any waves on the sea. It's very cold. I think it must only be 2 or 3 degrees out here and the water's going to be about 10. So a little bit of trepidation, but race day's here. So hopefully Ben Nevis tonight. Well, here we are, about 10 kilometres into the run. Still seem to be running, which is a plus. Magnificent scenery though, just take a look at this. So we're now 11 hours in. We seem to have rather futilely climbed a 500 metre hill. Futile because we're about to go down it again, back down to sea level. But on the positive side, I believe when we get to the top of this hill, we'll be able to see today's objective, which will be quite good. Ben Nevis is really quite a nice day walk, certainly a lovely climb from the north side. But when viewed 12.5 hours into fairly hard work triathlon, I have to say it does look a bit daunting. 13.5 hours into the triathlon and we've got this left, Ben Nevis. I think it's probably time to light the main engines